All right, Carson Young is here. Thanks for joining me, man. I'm glad we could do this. You're coming off a pretty massive week in Mexico, although now you are already in Bermuda. How are we doing today?
Yeah, can't complain. Well, I guess I can complain a little bit. It's very windy and rainy here in Bermuda, but had a great week last week in Mexico. There's a vacuum cleaner. And yeah, it was a fun week to get in contention and have a chance to win a golf tournament. So
So let's start there. I want to start with your week in Mexico at the Worldwide Technologies Championship, and then we can kind of work our way backwards to hit some more big picture stuff. But you just finished runner up last week. It was your best finish on the PGA Tour. Not really the first time that you've had an opportunity to win a PGA Tour event, but certainly the closest you've been. You shot the course record on Friday, 61, 11 under par. And then you also shot a 65 on Sunday. You can correct me if I'm off on this, but I think this was the first time you were playing in one of the final two groups on Sunday on the PGA Tour. What was it like having the cameras follow you every shot? Did you feel any extra pressure because of it?
yeah, it was a lot of fun. Definitely a little bit more pressure, I guess. I think it was my second time being in a final group on Sunday. I did it in Puerto Rico last
Yeah.
year. Um, but yeah, this felt like a little bit bigger stage. Obviously, it wasn't an opposite field event. So, yeah, coming into Saturday, I was in the final group Saturday and final group Sunday. So that was a first for me. And it's what you dream of, and having a chance to win a golf tournament. That's just all I could ask for. And I played really good all weekend, and just got beat at the end. But it was a lot of fun with the cameras and everything. It's what you try to have happen in a golf tournament. So it was fun to have that pressure and those nerves.
What helps keep you calm in those situations? Did you ever feel the gravity of the position that you were in terms of like, okay, a couple more breaks fall my way. This is pretty life changing in terms of like the magnitude and the higher leverage of the shots that you're hitting in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, we're all human, and every now and then a thought would pop in my mind like, oh, you might win this golf tournament, or oh, what this would do for your career and play the Masters, whatever. But those would come in for like a half a second, and then I'd be like, nope, nope, we're not thinking about that. We're thinking about the shot ahead of you. There's nothing you can do to predict the future here other than just hit the shot that's in front of you and not worry about anything else. So just having I don't have a ton of reps in final group situations, but I've won a lot of golf tournaments in my career, so it helps to get in that position a lot, and just knowing how to handle those nerves and deal with that.
Did you know that Austin Eckroat bogeyed 18 and you needed to eagle 18 before you hit that three wood approach on 18? Because that was a pretty unbelievable shot. You had 292 yards into a relatively small target. It was a super hard putt as well with that pin position. Did you know the position that you were in hitting that approach shot into 18?
I did, yeah. So when we got to my ball, I made sure I asked my caddy Willie. I was like, if Austin made par or birdie, um, we'll probably just stick to our game plan and make sure I miss short right of that green to have
Yeah.
more of a simple chip. But if he made bogey, I want to know. So he went and found one of the camera guys and asked him, and he said, yeah, he just watched Austin make bogey. So we're only two back. So I was like, all right, well, we didn't come here just to finish second or whatever. We came here to try to win a golf tournament. So give me the fairway wood and let's hit it up there. And if I miss the green, so what? I'll make par or bogey, but let's at least give myself a look at eagle. So that's what we did.
If you could have that putt over again, do you feel like you read the eagle putt wrong or you pushed it just a little bit low?
Yeah, it was a very tricky read. I think I hit my spot because it was like downhill from the start, then back uphill, going over this crest, and it broke to the right, and then it kind of broke left. So
That's a really hard putt.
it literally had everything going on to it. So it's all about matching the line and the speed. And for that length of putt, it was very difficult to do. But honestly, I was happy I didn't leave it short, and I was happy I didn't
Yeah.
blow it by like 10 feet. So I hit a great putt, had good pace on it. I just wish I had aimed it a little, a foot or two more left, and maybe it would have snuck in there somehow.
I want to go backwards for a second and talk about your 61 on Friday with a bogey, I might add. So you shot the course record that day. You ranked first in the field that day in driving accuracy and first in greens and regulation. Had to be one of the best ball striking rounds of your entire career. Did you feel like you had it that morning waking up? Like, did you feel like something in your game was percolating and you were really close to playing some unbelievable golf? And this was just the first time that everything kind of came together in one round? Or were you just as surprised to see yourself play that well?
I wouldn't say I was surprised, but I definitely wasn't like um feeling like I was going to shoot that either. It's not like the stars were aligning for me that day for any particular reason. I mean, the day before, I feel like I hit it fine. I just didn't. I had a lot of putts that I missed, and it was super windy on Thursday. So
Yeah.
I just kind of set that aside and knew the wind was down on Friday, and it was going to be some low scores. So I kind of just played a little bit more aggressive, and I was really dialed with my irons that day, really all week, but especially that day. Just hitting it inside 10, 15 feet almost every
Yeah.
hole. It just came super easy. And yeah, before I went out that round, I wasn't feeling great with a putter, but like literally a minute before I teed off or before I walked to the first tee, I just tried something different in my putting stroke, just raised the handle a little bit and felt like I was getting more open on the way back. And then I felt like I was hitting my lines better for like the three putts I hit before I went to the tee. I was like, all right, I'm gonna roll with this thought before I go to the tee and see if it works. And then I get up there and make pretty much every 10 footer I looked at all day. I mean, I didn't make anything really longer than that because I was hitting it so close.
Yeah.
It was just one of the easiest 11 unders I've ever shot. Probably one of the best rounds I've ever played for sure, especially in competition. So it was a lot of fun.
You start on the back nine, I believe. And just to give some context, you shot 72 on Thursday. You kind of got unlucky in playing in some of the windiest conditions on Thursday. So you were comfortably outside the cut line. Honestly, you really needed to shoot 70 on Friday to make the cut, but you birdied four of your first six holes. You shot six under on your first nine, and then you birdie one and three. So now you're eight under par through your first 11 holes. Then you actually give one back on four, you bogey four, and then you have four birdies in a row. Was there a point in that round where you felt like, okay, something special is happening here?
Yeah, really on 18, my ninth hole, I it was a back pin hole location, kind of similar to the way it was on Sunday, but even further back. Um, and I hit this perfect three wood on the green and almost made eagle to get to shoot seven under on that front. And I was like, all right, I think this might be a good day, and because everything was just going where I was looking ball striking wise. So yeah, and it just kept going on the back nine, and the lone bogey I made. I was between a 4 and 5 iron into number four, which is a long par four, probably one of the more difficult holes out there. Um, and I was leaning towards five, but short was bad to this pin, and my caddy's like, let's just hit four, make sure we get it up there, get on the green. And we did that. I had like had like 50 feet for birdie and ended up three putting. Um, Part of me wishes I would have stuck to my gut and just hit the five, but who knows? Everything could have been different. I might not have birdied the next four after that, or who knows? So maybe that lit a fire under me to keep to
Yeah.
keep playing aggressive after that bogey. So
You know what's interesting too is I work on the data side of things. So essentially, my job is to statistically model out golf courses, figure out which players are best suited for certain golf courses. And I actually didn't necessarily think that El Cardinal was necessarily the perfect fit for your game, mainly because it's a golf course that doesn't really highlight what you are best at. Like my numbers have you as one of the most accurate drivers of the ball on the PGA Tour. Like your ability to find fairways consistently is a huge weapon for you. I mean, ball striking in general, you're also a great iron player. So my numbers were actually saying that the best golf courses for you are golf courses that place a premium on finding the fairway, that weed out the less accurate drivers of the ball because you're playing a golf course with a high miss fairway penalty and really allow you to separate yourself from the weaker drivers of the ball. And El Cardinal is not that. I mean, it is a totally wide open resort golf courses where players that are far less accurate have a lot more wiggle room to spray the ball off the tee and not be penalized. On the other hand, I'm just sitting in front of a computer screen looking at numbers. At the end of the day, you're going to play your best golf at the golf courses that you feel the most comfortable at. So my data can only tell part of the story. Does that track for you in terms of you being aware of your massive strength with driving accuracy? And do you ever think about that stuff in terms of looking at what the data says are the best golf courses for your skill set?
Yeah, I never really look at golf courses and if they suit me or not. I've found that I've played good in all sorts of different courses. Just it's just a matter of if I feel good that week, honestly. But yeah, historically, I would say yes, I do like courses that are more narrow and put a premium on ball striking because that's a strength of my game. Like I love Harbor Town, and
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite tracks to go to because I feel like I have an edge on a lot of guys. But yeah, this golf course obviously it's long and super wide fairways, so I didn't really have to worry about hitting missing a fairway, of course, and then it just put a premium on. It's basically a second shot golf course.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
who's hitting their irons the best that day or
Completely
that week,
agreed.
and and just making the putts. But yeah, because the greens are fairly big, but you can definitely miss them on the wrong side because there's so many massive slopes and weird greens. So yeah, I guess I don't know what it is about the golf course. I guess just because it's the second shot golf course, and um, I get even some of the more narrow courses. Some of the longer guys might have still an advantage on me because they
Yeah.
can just what they call bomb and gouge, like they just
Yeah.
bomb it up there and hit a sand wedge out of the rough, pretty close to where I'm hitting a driver in the fairway, but I'm hitting an 8 iron into the green. So I'm not sure. It's interesting looking at stats like that, but I never look at them too hard because there's, for me, I don't really see a rhyme or reason for playing good somewhere. But yeah, for some reason I like this golf course, and I shot 21 under there last year and 23 this year. So I'm gonna put a star beside that one and make sure I go back every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. Well, it's actually, it's funny you say that because the numbers suggest, again, that you should play your best golf at actually harder ball striking courses that really emphasize driving accuracy and middle to long iron play. And El Cardinal does that to a certain extent, right? Like I would say, if I'm power ranking the easiest ways for you to separate against an average PGA Tour player, driving accuracy is certainly up there, but so is long iron play. Like you're one of the
Hmm.
better, you've already turned into one of the better long iron players on the PGA Tour. But a lot of your best finishes have been at courses that actually really highlight putting and are actually some of the easiest golf courses on tour. Like you finished fifth at the John Deere Classic, second at El Cardinal, obviously, eighth at Vidanta Vallarta. So might be kind of a Paspalum, Mexico resort course thing they're percolating for you. 17th at the American Express, which is kind of another what you do off the tee doesn't matter as much. Can you make enough putts to hang in there in a tournament that's going to be won at 25 under par? Those are all golf courses that don't really emphasize driving accuracy all that much, relatively speaking, and put a high amount of pressure on your putter to keep up in that style of tournament. So I actually view that pretty optimistically. It's like you've been able to find success on the courses that the numbers suggest you shouldn't succeed on as much unless you happen to have a really amazing putting week. And you've got a lot of upside with the putter. Like, you know, when you're feeling it, you're feeling it. And you're certainly the type of guy that can go out there and gain over 5 strokes putting on any given week. but the long-term numbers are still always going to say like, hey, your real strength here is that you're developing into one of the better ball strikers on the PGA Tour. So to me, the more predictable results for you are like, okay, you finished 14th at the Canadian Open. I don't know if you remember that week or as much at Hamilton, but that was a golf course that like my numbers were saying, okay, you've got a higher miss fairway penalty here, or even 11th at the Black Desert Championship a couple weeks ago. Like you saw guys with the big miss getting incredibly penalized, hitting it into lava all over the place. Those are both courses with a much higher miss fairway penalty. And those are actually the golf courses that emphasize what you do best.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. It's also slightly disappointing that I play good on the easiest golf courses on tour, but because I used to strive myself and I was good at hard golf courses. But that is, it's a good way to look at it as optimistically as I can that, hey, I got a lot of, if I'm playing good on these good, easy golf courses and I'm a good ball striker, hit it straight off the tee, like my time's coming on those harder courses, like you say. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting stats you got there. I like that.
Um, we're gonna play a game real quick, and I'm gonna tell you something about your game that the data is showing, and I want you to tell me if this is a surprise to you or something you feel completely cognizant of. So,
Okay.
number one, you putt a lot better on Bermuda grass greens than you do on bent grass greens, which shouldn't be all that much of a shock, right? Like you're a South Carolina guy, Clemson guy, probably played a lot more golf growing up on Bermuda, but you actually gain double putting on Bermuda greens than you do bent. Now, you've still had some really great performances on bent, like John Deere, for example. That was a bent grass golf course. But does that surprise you or track for you at all?
I would say it somewhat surprises me because, believe it or not, I actually grew up on a golf course that had all bent. And I love bent grass because you don't have to read the grain into it.
Yeah.
Um, but I also love Bermuda because they just roll so pure and I don't know. It's somewhat surprising, but I mean, obviously, I played a ton of golf courses in South Carolina that are Bermuda, and a lot of guys don't grow up on that. So I'm a little surprised at that because I would used to always say bent grass is my favorite type of green to putt on.
Pass Palm too. Like Pass Palm's up there. You've had a lot of success at like obviously El
Yes.
Cardinal, but Vidanta Vallarta as well. I want to say Puerto Rico Open where you finished third was Pass Palm as well. So Pass Palm's
Yep.
in the mix for you too. Another one that surprised me because it was actually a pretty big delta here. You play a lot better in the morning than you do in the afternoon. Does that surprise you or track for you?
Um, that surprises me. Are we sure that stat is accurate? Because I remember talking to my coach a month ago, and we decided that his stats were saying that I played much better in the afternoon for some reason.
Trust your
So
coach. Trust
I
your
don't know.
coach over me.
Because
Always trust
I
your
remember
coach.
having the conversation about like maybe you need to stop drinking coffee in the morning because like your morning scoring average is trash. I was like, I know, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I don't know what
Mine
to say
is
about that.
mine's virtually based on like relative to the field, right? So
Okay,
there might be a couple of times where you actually end up shooting the better round in the afternoon based on the course conditions, but
maybe so.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, so mine's all based on strokes gained. But okay, so that one kind of a surprise for you. Kind of a surprise for me too as well now hearing what your coach had to say. This is another good one. You gain the most strokes to the field in round 4. So you actually play some of your best golf on Sundays and the least amount of strokes to the field in round 1. So kind of a
Yep.
slow starter and a strong finisher. Does that track for you or is that more of a surprise?
Yeah, that makes sense. That's also something I talked with my coach about recently, and we've been trying to improve my round one scoring average, trying to figure out if I'm playing too aggressive, not aggressive enough. Because it seems like I always keep trending each day going up to
Yeah.
Sunday. But it's great that Sunday is one of my lowest scoring average days because like that means I can close on a Sunday or because that's when it counts the most on Sunday. So um, I'm actually kind of proud of that stat, but I would like to
Yeah.
get that first round scoring average to be a little bit better. so I
Yeah.
can don't have to worry about making cuts.
Okay, final one. By the way, for what it's worth on that point, you play really well on Friday too. So you kind of get yourself in a position where maybe you have to do some work to make the cut, and then you play really well on Fridays. Friday's your second best day after Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay, final one. You gain your most strokes to the field in approach play from 200 yards plus. So your actual greatest strength in approach relative to other PGA Tour players is your long iron play. Does that surprise you or track for you?
I would say that tracks for me. I take pride in my long iron game. Because I'm not very long off the tee, so it's like I have to be good with my long irons.
Yeah.
Since I'm a shorter hitter, so that's something I've always worked on, and I hit so many iron shots when I'm at home at Clemson, and just I'm always working on that part of the game, maybe a little bit too much. Um, but yeah, I think that tracks for me.
Well, the data is showing it as well. So keep hitting those long irons. Actually, by the numbers, between 2024 and 2023, because you've now played 2 full years with the PGA Tour schedule. You're playing primarily on the Corn Ferry Tour in 2022, but then 2023 you played a full schedule on tour. Last year you played a full schedule on tour. Do you feel like you're starting to get a handle on the schedule now that you've started to develop some history and experience at some of these golf courses?
Absolutely, it's only getting easier and easier every year I'm out here. It feels like that first year out there, you're trying to figure out just where the locker room is,
Yeah.
where to go, where to eat, where to do everything. Where to miss on a certain green. It's just so this being my second year and seeing all the courses at least once now. Um, Even if I don't necessarily play better, it's just like a calming effect in my mind. I like knowing I've been there before.
Yeah.
All the small things add up, and just a sense of belonging more so than anything. Instead of being that new guy that is trying to take everybody's job, that new rookie, I feel like I kind of belong now. Know some more guys, and yeah, mentally it's just a lot easier the longer you're out here.
Yeah, I mean it shows too, just in terms of the improvement between 2023 and 2024, like your first year on tour versus your second year on tour. I don't know if it was a comfortability or you just got better, but you went from being on your first year on tour a neutral driver of the ball, and then your second year on tour, you became like a well above average driver of the ball. You gained plus 0.21 more strokes off the tee than you did in 2023. So same thing with approach, by the way. You went from being like a slightly below average approach player compared to other PGA Tour guys to gaining 0.15 on approach, which doesn't sound like much per round, but it actually puts you as one of the better approach players on tour. And then your improvements around the green and putting were a lot smaller, but you still improve. So you improve your short game by 0.07 strokes per round. You improve your putting by 0.03 strokes per round compared to you improving your driving by plus 0.21 strokes and your approach play by plus 2.3 strokes. So it was really the ball striking that improved the most. Did it feel that way for you too, or do you have more of a nuanced view in terms of what you're working on the most right now to get to that next level that the numbers may not be able to capture?
Yeah, it didn't really feel like I did anything different, ball striking wise or with the driver. I think maybe last year I kind of had a below average season with the ball striking just because it was first year, maybe some nerves and just trying to really play good and putting too much pressure on myself. So this year kind of felt like more so my game, the stats kind of line up to what I
Yeah.
think my game is like. And my short game has just been pretty awful. And I think that's a part of my game that
Your words, not mine, but I would
yeah,
agree
yeah.
that the
I
numbers
appreciate you not
suggest
bringing
that.
it up. You haven't brought it up yet. I appreciate that. But chipping and pitching, I feel like if I can just get that just strokes gain even,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be out here for a long time, and have a chance to win a lot more golf tournaments. So that's something I've been working mostly on this year, honestly, is chipping and pitching,
Yeah.
more so than any other parts of my game. I know it hasn't improved a ton, but I feel like I'm making strides. In this off season, I'm really going to put some work in and see if I can improve that. So
I would tell you to do the same thing for what it's worth. I would say that short game is like a very easy, if you can just get yourself to be a neutral around the green player, that is, there's a lot of room to grow in that specific statistical category. Is that really the thing that you're focusing on the most right now? Or is there anything in the swing right now? Because just looks really smooth, man. I know it all kind of came together for you in that round, and that week in general last week in Mexico. But for people paying attention to you and your numbers, wasn't all that much of a shot, a surprise, right? You were trending very positively in the ball striking categories, and you're not the most consistent putter, but there's upside there, right? So like
hmm
you're not the type of guy that's going to gain strokes putting necessarily every single week, but you are the type of player that you do have those +5, +6 putting weeks in you when you get it going. What's kind of the focus? Do you have any goals for the 2025 season?
yeah, I mean, my goal is just obviously I would like to win. And with all the changes they're making, it's going to be even, I think they might end up making it 100 cards next year is what they're talking about. So
Yeah.
my goal of mine is just to kind of keep doing what I'm doing. I don't really like making physical goals or like, oh, I want to win a golf tournament, or oh, I want to do this, do that. It's more so just making a goal each day of how can I improve each day, and that's going to be a lot with the short game and with the putter, um, and just a bunch of small steps because I know if I just do all the little things right, by the time this next season rolls around, I'm going to be in contention a lot more and have those chances to win. And I mean that's the ultimate goal is just to be a winner on the PGA Tour, of course, and say you've beat the best in the world. So now that I've been out here 2 years, it kind of feels like I've always just been trying to kind of keep my card. And now I feel like I'm ready to get out there and win. So that's exciting for me, and I can't wait for the next season.
Yeah, I'm pretty bullish on you to keep your card at this point. I think based on your numbers, like we talked about this a little bit earlier, but there are a lot of golf courses. I actually think if you can find your way into some of the signature events, because some of the signature events are played at some of the more harder ball striking courses, and
hmm
obviously the major championships as well. Uh, do you think about that at all in terms of like trying to get yourself more into majors, or are you more focused on winning on the PGA Tour first or getting into majors?
Um, Probably just winning first because typically that would get you in a major. So, I mean, that's kind of why I'm here in Bermuda. I thought about taking it off, but I'm playing well, so I figured I can come out here and I got two more opportunities to try to win, and if I don't, still get a bunch of points and maybe sneak into that top 60 or 70 points list and get in one of those first few signature events. So that would be great. And yeah, like you said, like RBC Heritage, I played there last year,
Hmm.
and played really good there. And it seems like you said, the harder golf courses can sometimes be great for me. So I would love to get in those events, and it's really hard to get into them these days without
Yeah.
winning. So that's kind of how we're gonna have to get there. So
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing the right thing. I mean, another thing that stands out to me is you do play some of your best golf during the fall swing for whatever reason. I know the fields are weaker. This is even comparatively speaking, strokes gained to your competition. So
mhm.
you play some really good golf during the fall swing. And I can't say I was super surprised to see things all start to come together for you. And I agree that, hey, take advantage of it right now while you can and put yourself in a position where if these are some of the golf courses that you feel comfortable at, why not try and get ahead of the game as much as you can possible to best position yourself going forward. What's it like in Bermuda right now? I gotta ask about course conditions really quickly because my wind finder right now is showing that it's going to be pretty spicy out there. I think certainly harder than last year when Camilo Villegas won at 26 under par. I don't know if 26 under par is in the cards this week, based on what I'm seeing with the wind.
Yeah, if 26 under wins this week, then I might have to retire because I can't shoot that. I don't think it is absolutely awful right now. It's blowing 40 miles an hour and that was light rain. I went out there for about 30 minutes. Hit like I putted for a few minutes and then I went and hit some balls and I was like, this is pointless because it was straight in off the left and I was hitting 7 irons that were going 100 yards. So I was like, all right, well, this is pointless to practice today. So I just put my clubs up and went back to the room. And today's actually my birthday, so I didn't want to celebrate my
Ah,
birthday
congratulations.
in miserable conditions. So I just been chilling all day. Yeah. So, but yeah, conditions are going to be tough this week. So it's going to take a strong mental game and a lot of patience this week. And I'm ready for it. So
Well, happy birthday, man. Final question that I wanted to ask you. Cam let me know that you and your wife are expecting your first baby in 6 months. First of all, congratulations. Second of all, how do you expect fatherhood to change your golf game? Obviously, pretty huge life adjustment, but on the other hand, I think it can be kind of conducive to your perspective, right? And you see a lot of guys after they have kids, they talk about how at the end of the day, I almost now put less pressure on myself because, uh, you know, that little crazy journey of walking around whacking this little white ball doesn't necessarily feel as intense anymore, knowing that I have a lot more purpose in my life now outside of the golf course.
yeah, yeah, we're super excited. Got a little girl coming in March. And yeah, it's funny you say perspective. It's kind of the running joke out here. It's like
Yeah.
what somebody has a kid. Oh, he's got new perspective. He's gonna play great now. Yeah, I'm just excited that we have a kid on the way, and I don't know what that means for my golf game. Could be good, could be bad, but I'm not worried about it because yeah, perspective. It's having a kid and a wife is I'm super blessed in that, um, and my faith in the Lord, like I know He's got me no matter what. So
Yeah.
no matter how I play on the course, like my life is going to be great, and I'm just super excited for this next chapter in my life, and yeah, so it's gonna be a fun and interesting year with a kid.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm excited to see what happens. I've been following your journey pretty closely, just because you were one of those guys that jumped out to me statistically based on your ball striking. Like, okay, I think something might be happening here for this Carson Young guy. I think he's got a lot of potential going forward, and I'm glad to see those results starting to come to fruition. So thanks for joining me, man. Good luck at Bermuda this week, and hope to do it again sometime in the near future.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, Andy, and thanks for all the stats. You kind of boosted my ego there. So now I'm looking forward to continuing to strike my ball. So we'll see what we can do, and we'll chat again soon, hopefully.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me, dude.
All right, thank you.